Okay, so today, January 10, that we're recording on, Disneyland opened up sales of the Magic Key again, which is their annual pass. They call it a Magic Key for some reason.
And you made a big decision for our family.
I did.
You decided to get in line for them.
Well, only because I was curious. If we had been able to apply our upcoming tickets to a Magic Key, then I probably would have considered it. But we have already bought tickets for our next trip, and you cannot proactively apply tickets to Magic Key. You can only apply them once you have started to use them, if a Magic Key is available. So anyway, I got in the queue just to see what it would do. It wasn't working this morning at 9 o'clock, so I think too many people were logging in to try to get in line for a Magic Key. So I think I got in the queue finally around like 10:30, and I finally was getting closer to, I think they said I was at like an hour wait finally. So the little bar had been going all day long, and at 5:48 tonight, it said that all keys are sold out except for the Southern California key.
So we're moving to Southern California, and
yeah, but less than a day, and all the keys, Magic Keys, are sold out.
It's insane. It used to not be like this. You could get year passes at any point.
And I'm so disappointed because I went to college in California for 2 years. Was like an hour and a half away, so not near as far as we are now. And I did not get an annual pass. You even had an annual pass, and you were poor.
That is true, but that's the thing. Like even that short time ago that we were in college, that's almost no time at all since we were in college.
Oh yeah.
They gave me a day free for my birthday, which is how I got in, and they applied that price towards an annual pass that was, I don't know, a couple $100 maybe.
Yeah.
Like the pass itself was a couple $100, and they knocked $60-$70 off for the day ticket
that you didn't have to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And then you used that annual pass to go with me for my free birthday.
On our first date.
No, I take that back. My free birthday ticket was the year before, because that was in 2009.
So you paid full price.
the free birthday ticket. And so for my birthday, my parents asked what I wanted. I said, I just want to go to Disneyland. So they sent me money so I could go to Disneyland.
Did you tell them you were going with a boy?
No, I hadn't asked you yet. If they hadn't sent me money, I wasn't going to go.
Fair.
So they sent me money so I could go to Disneyland and get food.
And we had our first date there.
And we had our first date. I asked you out on our first date to Disneyland because I knew that you had a pass, and I knew that you'd be willing to skip chapel at school because we went to a Christian college, so we had chapel.
I also skipped chapel twice to see Daybreakers in theaters.
And I knew that you'd be willing to skip school or chapel for this, and so full school day. And so our first date was like 12 hours long, maybe longer. Was it longer than 12 hours? Because I think we're there till midnight.
Probably.
But it was a very awkward first date.
I had a lot of fun, and I
had a lot of fun, but I had never done Haunted Mansion, and that was the first time I did Haunted Mansion.
6 times.
And I
hold my arm.
told you that I'd only do it if I could hold your arm because I was scared.
Yeah. I'd have gone on that ride the entire day. You kidding me?
So that's the last time anyone in our family has owned an annual pass, was 2009 and 2010.
I like that you were able to get meals in the park that day and I wasn't. And
my parents sent me money for my birthday.
You'd let me like nibble off of stuff, and you let me have some of your cinnamon roll during the fireworks.
Yeah, well, we waited for fireworks.
I was eating peanut butter and jelly and Abba Zabbas.
And you got to see me how I eat a bread bowl, and it did not scare you away.
No, you are so enthusiastic.
So that is the last time that someone in our family has owned an annual pass for Disneyland. But on that note, we are annual pass holders for Universal Studios. And that is what we are going to... Hollywood.
Specifically.
And that is what we're going to discuss tonight, because that was also part of our November trip. We packed a lot in.
To all Disney adults and morbidly curious casuals, we proudly present our spectacular festival pageant of theme park ramblings and peculiar opinions in thousands of seconds of average quality sounds of Mice and Matterhorns podcast.
Universal Studios, I was so excited to go with you all. Because this
And
was...
I am your hostess, Shannon.
Oh, yeah, we should probably start with that. You're Shannon. I'm Daniel. We're hosts, reveling alongside and revealing the mystery of Disney adults. But we're not going to Disney today.
We're not.
Doing Universal Studios. Universal Studios was one of the parks that I went to much more frequently than Disneyland growing up. Now, despite Disneyland being the closest big theme park to me, it was also the most expensive. Mm-hmm. And Universal Studios back in the day would do crazy things where like you bought a day and you got a year free for $60.
Wow.
And so there were multiple times where I had Universal Studios annual passes because it was the most affordable. Mm-hmm. And it has changed a whole lot since when I went into high school. And I had a chance to go for the first time since maybe college or high school last November. So I'd seen some of the updates, but I have never been with you.
Let's clarify. Not last November, but November of 22.
Sorry, November of 1920. No, sorry, November 2022. And yeah, I was excited to go with my family for the first time.
I have never been to Universal Studios Hollywood. Actually, I've never been to any of the Universal Studios.
It's a very unique theme park because they have such a small amount of space. It's built on a hill, but the primary attraction to it, and it's the original Universal Studios. The whole thing was it was an active movie studio. Mm-hmm. So as someone that is and was very into movies, I loved it in high school, and I still love it for that reason too, because you get to go on that back studio tour and tour active movie lots and see historic movie sets and stuff. And I really love that aspect of it. But they have sort of grown into their own thing as well.
What you were saying about it being built on a hill, they also have built part of the theme park over their parking garages.
Yeah.
Because they needed more room. And so they built parking garages into the side of the hill and then built the, Silly Funland or something like that on top of one of the parking garages. And then they're putting a Fast and Furious roller coaster into the side of the hill as well.
I've wanted to go to Universal Studios for a while, but realistically, there wasn't a big enough draw for us to bring little kids to it.
Yep.
And now there is, and there was. And so the kids saw all the updates for Super Nintendo Land,
Super Nintendo World.
and so we decided to throw in a day and give it a shot.
Yeah.
And now we're annual pass holders. So
I
guess it went okay.
Yeah, so I had bought the 1 hour early entrance for Super Nintendo World, which actually lets you into the whole park an hour early, but it's specifically for Super Nintendo World because it can fill up. It can get very busy. We were after Thanksgiving, so it was a little bit quieter, but Grinchmas had just started as well. So we'll get into all of that. So I was like, let's do an extra hour in the morning so that we are sure to get everything done that we want because we're only doing one day. What we didn't account for was traffic.
Yeah, it turns out LA has some traffic. Something I probably should have known.
So it has been a really long time since I have driven up through LA. Usually we stay Anaheim and south. We don't usually venture into LA for anything. So we should have been more prepared. We should have left earlier. We didn't. So we only got 15 minutes.
15 minutes
of our hour early access. But it did give us, that 15 minutes allowed us to walk all the way down to Super Nintendo World and get there before the park opened.
But before that happened, one of my favorite things of the day happened. So as you alluded, Grinchmas was starting up, and I was excited because I never got a chance to go to Grinchmas.
Yeah.
Which is their holiday celebration, and it's all themed after the Jim Carrey film, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Really elaborate, fun to see, but you get to meet characters, and one of the characters you can meet is Max, who is an actual real-life dog that they scruff up or something. Well, we were entering the park just as... And one of the animal trainers was walking by with about 5. Was it 4 or 5?
I think it was 4.
4 Maxes.
Yep.
All on leashes. And so we got pictures of all 4 Maxes instead of just 1.
We headed down to the lower lot.
And on our way down to the lower lot, we were able to get into the reservation system for Toadstool Cafe. So we were able to set up our lunch ahead of time as well. So we had an 11?
I think it was 11.
Something like that. Reservation for it. So our morning was planned. We were going to go into Super Nintendo World for as long as the boys, well, at least until our lunchtime.
Yep.
And then have lunch there and then sort of try to explore the rest of the park.
Okay, so the park officially opened at 10. So we got there at 9:45, headed down to the lower lot, and we're amazed by Super Nintendo World. It's very much like the video games. And so it's just really fun. And I did not really grow up. I played N64 and
the Super Mario 64.
Yes, there we go. That is the game I played growing up. I did not play the two-dimensional one at all, but it was just really cool to see it all in real life, especially Peach's Castle, because that was such a big part of the Super Mario in 64. That's such a big part of that game. So it was just really neat.
It's the opposite for me. Because I played Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3 in Super Mario World. I, to this day, have probably played about 30 minutes of Super Mario 64.
So the land is just amazing. Like, you get down in there, and it's 3 stories high inside the land. And so when you look up and around, you can't see much else other than the props that they have built. We headed right into the Mario Kart ride, which is a 3D ride. Is that what it's called?
It's a mixed reality or augmented reality ride.
Okay.
It has elements of a dark ride like you'd see in Disneyland, because if you take the goggles off that they have, most of that's still there, but they project the other players and the weapons onto the screens that they have in front of you. Mm-hmm. So it mixes both 3D or augmented reality and practical effects, which was really cool. I'd not been on a ride similar to that.
Yeah, and you're as you're on the ride, you've got a steering wheel too, so it's telling you which way to turn your steering wheel. Then you're pressing buttons to try to send your, I don't remember, your shells to hit
shells.
The bad guys. If you hit good guys, then you lose coins. So the goal of this is to collect as many coins as you can, and there's also coins that you can drive through. So you can't drive yourself off the track or anything like if it was Autopia. Because it's making you do what it wants you to. Mm-hmm. But you're still essentially in a competition with the other 3 people in your cart. So it was fun because there's 4 of us. So we were all racing at the same time in one cart, but we're also trying to get the most points. And I got the most points both times. So
yeah, I only got to go on it one time.
I beat you by 1 point, 2 points.
I think so, something like that.
The first time. Yeah. And then the second time, it was just our oldest and I went again. I really enjoyed the ride and I'm looking forward to doing that one again.
Yeah, I want to go on it again too. It was gamification done right for a ride. Like I think of the gamification rides at Disneyland, the Toy Story Mania, Web Slingers, and Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters is my favorite of the 3 because it is similar to this. It's a ride in addition to the game. The other 2 are very much, you're essentially just playing the game. This takes a really solid dark ride, integrates newer technology, and does it pretty darn well. Like, the field of vision was a little bit narrow with what they were projecting onto the screens, but this was, I think, maybe my favorite gamified ride that I've ever been on.
Yeah, and also the queue for the ride had a lot to it. A lot of different elements, a lot that I'm not really familiar with, but there was just a lot in there.
Yeah, they did a really good job with the whole area being immersive, and Universal's taking that up a notch. They started with the Wizarding World, and that extends to the whole land too, because you've got the gamified ride, but then the whole land also has multiple games you can play in addition to that. It sucks that you have to have the wristband to actually do it, though. Like, if we had not bought the wristband for our kids, we wouldn't be able to participate in a lot of what that land had to offer.
Yeah.
So they had 4 games that you could do to try to get keys, and you needed 3 keys to play the final game, right? Was the sort of the whole theme of the land. So we went and did that. There was one where we had to turn all the blocks a certain color.
Thankfully, all 4 of us could do that together because when the land first opened, we watched some videos online of each person trying to do it by themselves, which is impossible.
It's a pretty big wall to, try to, especially some of these games like the alarm clock one where you're running around hitting the alarm clock to make sure that the piranha plant doesn't wake up. That was difficult with all 4 of us doing it. Yeah. I was having a hard time with just my section. There was another one where you had to turn a crank real quick to try to knock a Goomba off of something. Our youngest started doing it and then panicked and yelled at me to do it for him, so I did. So that was fun. And then the last one, you had to hit a pound to knock a turtle off of something.
No, it was to knock a shell up to hit a turtle.
That's
right?
what it was. Yep.
And so we bought the bands for our boys, and I think were they $45?
They were expensive.
Yeah. So that's $90 right there. So I said, sorry, Daniel, next time you can get one.
Yeah, it is too bad though. And I get this, and they do this with the Wizarding World too, but it's such a big part of this Mario Land, you need to have an extra fee for, which I don't love.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, I guess.
I mean, they want to make their money.
Yeah. And it makes it much more immersive because there's coin blocks all over the place.
Yeah. So you take, with the power band on, you don't actually hit that power band to the different items. You're supposed to use your fists because you'll break your power band otherwise.
Despite how many times we told our youngest, but...
Yeah. So you can get coins, and then it's just, you pick a band that goes with one of the characters, and then you're on that team. So our youngest picked Luigi. No, our youngest picked Mario, and our oldest picked Luigi. So they were on Luigi team and Mario team, and they were trying to earn points for their team. So they had a blast doing that because there was a lot of different things to go interact with. Once they obtained all 4 keys, then we got to go to Bowser Jr.'s area. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah. So there was like a final challenge. I think you only needed 3 of the 4 keys, but there was a final challenge that you went to do. And as long as one person in your party had obtained enough keys to enter into it, you could all do it. You could all participate. They cast your shadow on the wall. And so you were controlling the shadow. You had to knock things out of the way. You could get power-ups. And it was a really cool, another really interesting gamified attraction.
To go with the Mario theme too, like if you got hit by something, then you would shrink, and then there was the big man mushroom would fall down, and if you grab that, then you would go back up to the normal size, and then I think if you could get the fire flower one, and then you could throw fireballs, and you were trying to hit Bowser Jr. out of the sky, and you didn't have to have a power band for that. So Daniel and I were able to participate.
It was really clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the way that they utilized your actual shadow instead of it being like a digital character, that was clever, and it was fun.
Yeah.
So we ran around and soaked ourselves in Super Mario World, and then we went and had lunch at Toadstool Cafe, which was, I think, maybe my highlight for the day. Maybe my actual highlight. We watched a whole bunch of people eating at this place, so we knew what was there going in, and we were prepared to kind of spend a little extra money and try a whole bunch of stuff, and we did. So you walk in, it looks like a Toad house, which is like a dream come true for someone that played a lot of Super Mario Brothers 3 growing up. But you walk in, there's Chef Toad, who is on a screen. It's all very interactive, like the windows are screens, and so you can see into the Mushroom Kingdom and stuff.
Well, I wouldn't say it's interactive. It's entertaining.
Not interactive, entertaining. Yeah, it's immersive. That's the word I'm thinking of. Just like the whole land. It's very immersive. But yeah, we all kind of ordered our own thing, except for our oldest. Did he get any food there?
Oh, I got him the garlic knots.
Okay.
And he ate the part that did not have garlic on them.
Yes, so he had some bread and then pulled from our giant backpack of snacks.
Yes.
Let's see. I've got spaghetti.
For our youngest.
For our youngest. He had like the Happy Meal, which came with a coin cookie too. And spaghetti.
And a garlic knot.
You had the Luigi burger. What was that?
So that was a chicken burger, and it had pesto and a green bell pepper on it. And then the top of the bun had Luigi's mustache, like singed onto it. And then the toothpick to go through the burger had Luigi's hat on top.
Yep. I had spaghetti as well. I had the fire flower spaghetti, and it had little Parmesan chips on it. That was good. We got a bunch of drinks. We got 2 of the drinks, the squash lemonade.
Superstar.
I
don't think there was a squash lemonade. It was a superstar lemonade. It's like the superstar in Mario game. So it was a superstar lemonade.
I bet $2 that squash is in there somewhere on the menu. So we did that. And then we had the beanpole cake.
Superstar lemon squash review.
There we go.
Or not review. Sorry. That's Superstar lemon squash.
And it had the popping boba and jellies in it. So it was a very fun mouthfeel, I guess.
Yeah, our oldest wanted one. And so I was like, okay, well, let's get 2 and then we can each share. And it had some carbonation in it. And so he took 1 sip and was like, absolutely not.
It was his nightmare in a cup. Carbonation, popping boba, and jellies.
Yeah. So, and our youngest, he had a couple drinks and then was like, I don't want any more. So then we each got our own drink, which was not planned, and sweet, good. I don't think I'd want to drink a whole one again.
See, I thought it was okay, but the more I drank it, the more I liked it because it's practically a snack too with how many chewy things were in it. I really ended up enjoying it. The beanpole cake, I don't even remember. Was that like a tiramisu thing?
It was kind of like tiramisu, yes.
And then the peach cake.
The peach cupcake.
The peach cupcake was
Princess
a lot
Peach cupcake.
of frosting.
A lot of frosting, and that is all our youngest wanted to eat was the frosting. I don't even know if he ate the cupcake portion.
Yeah, because he didn't like that there was strawberry in it.
Yes.
But boy, he loved that frosting.
Kind of like the gray stuff. Just wants the frosting.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so we thoroughly enjoyed that. And and our oldest, he managed to sit at the table with us while we had our food. Oh, I forgot. I had fries with mine, and they had truffle oil on them, which was unique. I had not had that before. So they just had a slightly different flavor than normal fries. Mm-hmm. Really good. So I am looking forward to going back.
Yeah, a lot of mushrooms in a lot of their stuff, which I want to try their mushroom soup, which makes sense, I guess.
But why? Because Toad is a mushroom, isn't he?
I don't know if he's a mushroom or if he just wears a mushroom hat. But I think he's probably a mushroom. I mean, his name's Toad, Toadstool. But Mario eats the 1-ups and the big man mushrooms all the time too. So
and they have little faces on them. Have you ever noticed that?
I can tell. Well, yes, I can see right now. You've got 2 on your head right now. You're wearing our oldest's, not Mickey ears, but they're
Toad ears.
It's a headband with a 1-up and a big man mushroom on it. I'm actually wearing the hat that our youngest got. It's a Mario baseball hat. I may have things a little bit out of order here. What did we do next on your list?
So next week, because we were trying to get into the land as quick as possible, we kind of skipped the entrance and taking pictures, like at the entrance of Universal and the entrance of Super Nintendo World. So we went back to the entrance of Super Nintendo World and took pictures they have pipes there, like the green pipes that are in the games. Yeah. Are they warp pipes?
Warp pipes.
And so we got pictures inside the pipes. Picture thing. And then I think you guys went on Tron. I did not go.
Well, I will tell you, we didn't go on Tron.
Okay. I don't know what you went on.
Because Tron's in Disney World.
Oh, that's right.
What? the Mummy?
No, it's the thing, the
Transformers?
Transformers.
Okay, yeah. No, I know we went on Transformers at some point. Yeah, that was surprisingly fun. Mm-hmm. I had avoided it the last time that I went just because the line was kind of long. It didn't sound that interesting to me. I just assumed it was going to be a bunch of screens, which to my credit, it kind of was. Mm-hmm. But the ride moved a lot. It did not give me any sort of motion sickness, which I'm sometimes prone to. The boys loved it, and it was a complete walk-on. I'd have done it again a second time if they wanted to. It was a lot of fun.
And then you and our oldest went on the Mummy.
We did. Again, there was a very short line for that. It was a little scarier than I remembered, and he was a little surprised at some of the stuff that happened, and he was wondering what scarabs were and if they really ate you. Yeah, it's a really fun roller coaster. Still upset that they took out the ET ride for that, but if you get a chance next time to go on it, I would highly recommend it. And they've got the rider swap on that ride, which will work out well. And
so during that, the youngest and I, because he's not tall enough for the Mummy, and we knew he'd be scared, so we went through the Jurassic Park gift shop. And I also got a picture of him in front of one of the Christmas trees they had down there.
Yeah, that lower lot's really fun. Mm-hmm. And the Jurassic World stuff is awesome. So I took the boys and we went on Jurassic World because I think you weren't feeling too well at that point. There was a lot going on.
Yeah. And I don't remember why. I don't know if I had too much sugar.
Yeah.
I think I was struggling with a migraine, if I remember correctly.
So. Yeah.
Which makes sense because we ended up having a massive rainstorm later that afternoon, and I always get migraines when a storm front is coming in. I'm a barometer. My head is a barometer, and it's like something is going to happen. Which that morning, with the clouds are and us being in California, and the sun was out, I was like, "Well, this is weird. I don't usually get migraines in this type of situation." So I thought maybe just the brightness, because sometimes the sun can do that, and being from Washington and at that time of year, we're not seeing a ton of sun.
Yeah.
But the storm that came later explained why I had a migraine. Yeah. So Jurassic Park ride was good and bad.
Yeah. So the and they changed it to Jurassic World a few years ago. It was Jurassic Park for years and years.
Ugh. I can't get it right. Well, our oldest loved it, and our youngest had a panic attack on it.
He loved most of the ride. I think the end, it got a little bit scary, and so he was not loving it afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty slow-moving ride at first, and the first big scare he actually was fine with. Mm-hmm. He thought it was pretty cool. It's when the big water dinosaur eats an orca or eats a shark. And he thought that was cool because he got splashed too. He loves getting splashed on stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think overall they enjoyed it. I think the end maybe got him a bit, and then we headed on up.
Yeah.
to the upper lot.
So then I started filming while I was waiting for you guys because the Dinosaur Blue came out and it had a handler over to like the left of where the ride comes down, the big drop. And so I happened to be filming that and I was just kind of waiting and watching to see if you guys, so I got you guys on film coming down the drop.
I need to see that. Yeah.
It's timed well. So then we headed up to the upper lot and went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
It's your first time in Hogsmeade. I'd been in there once before. Really well done. This was the land that I think really started to cement for me that Universal is upping their theme park game especially in the immersivity. I don't know if that's a word. Of their lands. So what did you think going in there for the first time?
Yeah, it was really fun. So it has cobblestone sidewalks, and all the buildings look like they do in the movies. I did not grow up watching the movies. I did not watch the movies until we were married at some point. I can't remember when. The movies are fine. I don't love them. I don't hate them. They're interesting. I like the Lego Switch game for the Harry Potter stuff. I find that very interesting. But they have a train engine in there and it has like steam coming out of it. And there was a train conductor in front. So we got a picture with him. Yeah, it's just a very immersive world. They've got the candy shop
that's
in the movie.
Yeah.
We did not have a chance to go in, though, which I was very sad about.
I know. We missed quite a bit of this land, unfortunately. Our kids were not super...
No. They were done with Super Nintendo World, but they were, like, done with the day. They didn't want to do anything else after lunch.
I think had we bought them each one of the interactive wands and let them go crazy, we could have spent a lot more time there, but that would have been expensive. I mean, I brought mine, but it was kind of a pain to keep pulling out. But yeah, we did Ollivander's wand show. We were really hoping our oldest would get picked for it, but he didn't. It's a real quick, like 10-minute presentation where they go through some special effects. But that was fun. You walk out into the wand shop, and then from there, we were able to see, I think there was the frogs were singing off in the distance.
Yes. So during the holiday time, they have the singing frogs. So they have wizards holding frogs, like these big bullfrogs, and they're singing. There was quite a crowd, so we didn't stop to watch, but they were there. So at that point, our kids were getting antsy, so we decided to go over to Pets. What was it called?
Secret Life of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets. Kids really wanted to go on that ride. The line was like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, we're booking it over there. And that line, that queue was also very interesting. It was the apartment building in Secret Life of Pets. So there's a whole bunch of doors and like you could open up the mail flaps and be able to look into different houses.
See characters and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And see the different animals that were in the different rooms. So that was really fun. And then the ride, they scan you somehow and they turn you into a dog. And so you're a dog, a cartoon puppy that's going through this adventure with the main characters of Secret Life of Pets. And you're in the end going to be chosen to go home with someone. And I have a hard time with the adoption piece of the pet thing because our youngest is adopted. And so I never know if that's going to be like a trigger thing for him, especially when it's about animals. And I'm like, this is not what we did with you. Like, we didn't just be like, yes, they're just going to take you home.
Our adopted son has animatronics screaming at him, you're going to be adopted today. It's like, all right, calm down.
So I wish there was a different term that they could use for those type of scenarios.
Yeah, I was curious to see how he'd handle it. He didn't seem to.
And he didn't seem phased. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm just being overly aware and he just was like, oh, that was a fun ride, what are we doing next type of a thing. So I was glad that it didn't seem to phase him and impact him, but it was a cute ride.
It was a really well done dark ride for Universal Studios, and you're right, the queue is probably the best in that. I'm not a big Secret Life of Pets fan, but they did a really good job with that whole thing.
Yeah. And then it was time for Grinchmas. So the plaza at Universal Hollywood had the Whoville tree and the Grinch was there and other Whoville people or Who's, I guess, were milling around in that area and you could go interact with them. Like the mayor was there, the mailman, and the boys got to color ornaments. And as we mentioned earlier, Max was also there, the dog. Yep. And so he had a little stage that you can get in line and get a picture with. So the boys got a picture with Max. And then when I got back with my coffee, we all got a picture with Max.
Yeah, it was an hour-long line to meet the Grinch and a 2-minute line to meet Max.
So we got a picture with the Grinch in the background and called it good. We all had Grinch shirts or sweatshirts on, though. So we had kind of themed ourselves to that.
I would have loved to go on and meet the Grinch. He's so funny, especially if you watch his videos on TikTok that people take. As magical as the Disneyland characters are, I would say Universal does a good job of hiring people that are really good at improvising funny scenes. And the Grinch is hilarious. And most of the characters that you can interact with are borderline sarcastic and really funny to watch. Like you can go talk to
They're
Donkey.
not borderline sarcastic. They're completely sarcastic.
They're very sarcastic.
They are, what would you say, borderline insulting?
Yeah, it's like they got a bunch of insult comics yelling at you. But even like they had an animatronic snowball just up on top of one of the buildings, the rabbit from Secret Life of Pets, and interacting with guests and talking to them and pointing out what they were wearing and stuff. It was really, really good. It was a lot of fun.
And Donkey from Shrek does that too.
Yep, you can go talk to him.
Yeah, but anyway, so for Grinchmas, it was just really neat to see that whole area, and then the Whoville tree is decorated there.
Yeah.
We did not get to see the Christmas celebration though, so we'll get to that. Trying to fit Universal into one day, we thought that we could do it, and it is really hard. It's really hard. Like if you want to spend any time enjoying the lands and not just go ride after ride after ride, you need more than a day.
And again, especially if you have kids.
Yeah. And then we headed down to, what is it, like the mid-lower lot? It has its own escalator.
Yeah, it's off
for the studio tour.
So if you're on the upper lot, you turn left to go down the escalators to the lower lot. To the right, there's an escalator that doesn't go down near as far, but that starts out your studio tour there. And this, I was so excited to go on with you all because this is and has been my favorite thing at Universal Studios.
I think it had said like a 20-minute wait, and we're like, we'll just do it. It's fine. We got there and we waited like 5 minutes to get on.
We walked on.
And the people that we were by, because it's like 6 seats across or so. And I was like, well, there's 4 of us. I don't really want to have to sit with 2 strangers. And the people staying in the row ahead of us were like, just spread out. No one is going to sit in the 2 seats between you guys. And I was like, oh, good point. Because you line up per row as you go into your bench.
Yeah.
And so these people were annual pass holders, and they had been on this ride many, many times. And so they were in the front row of our car. I think we were in the 3rd car back. And then we were in the 2nd row. And so it worked out well. But we got onto the tram, and all of a sudden a double rainbow appears.
Yeah.
Like the most vibrant double rainbow. And I was like, wow, it looks like it could rain.
Boom, boom, boom.
And so we're all taking pictures of the double rainbow, and the announcer is talking about it too. And so we start the tour and are going through different places. I don't know if you want to highlight any at the beginning that you want to.
It was pretty cool. Like some of it's been there since I was a kid and went to Universal Studios. The original Psycho house is still there, like the exterior, and there's Bates Motel. Some of the stuff we skipped over. Maybe they were using it. And then they took us to areas that I'd never been before. So it was the studio tour. It's always changing. I don't think it's ever been the exact same tour ever since at any point that I've been on it. So it was really cool to experience it with you all. Our youngest really enjoyed it because he slept through the whole thing. Yeah,
so we made it down. I think we just started driving like through the
by
buildings.
The firehouse. Yeah, like down.
Yeah, so we drove by the house department thing, and then to the like town square type buildings. So it's like more cityscape that we're driving through. And our youngest had leaned against me, and I realized that he had sunglasses on, and I realized he had fallen asleep. So thankfully, because we took up a whole row for 6 people, and there's only 4 of us, I slid all the way over, and we put his legs out between Daniel and I, and then I just held him so that he could lay with his head
roll off the bench
on my lap so that he could sleep. And we went through the King Kong ride, which was quite loud. The tram is rocking back and forth.
Fighting 2 T-Rexes.
Yeah. It makes it look like part of the tram is falling too. So I mean, like you're being jerked around. Slept through the whole thing.
Jaws didn't faze him.
No.
Fast and Furious didn't faze him. What a nap.
Yeah, he was just out. And my favorite part of the whole tour, like I loved the tour. I did not expect to. I was just like, oh, it'll just be a ride to sit down on. There'll be some interesting things.
It's geared towards movie buffs. Yeah.
It's one that it was like, I want to do this again. And our oldest said the same thing. He loved it.
That was surprising. I did not think.
He was so immersed in everything going on and just trying to see it all.
so immersed that when they showed us that they could make it rain on cue, he believed they could make it stop raining when it was actually raining.
So that was my favorite part, is that they get to this spot where they flood a street and they have all this rain coming down. Well, it started to rain at that exact time. So the whole flood scene happens and we continue on the tour. And at one point, our oldest goes, well, when are they going to turn the rain off?
He was so annoyed that they would just leave this on.
Because there's no windows on the side of the tram. So the water does splash in. So I think you guys scooted in a little bit to get him away from the rain. But it was so funny. He just thought that flood scene that had happened, like the rain had just continued from that. So we had an absolute downpour for the rest of our tour.
Yeah.
Because the tour is 40 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably 15 minutes into the tour. And so for 25 minutes remaining of the tour, it's just pouring down rain. And we got to the Fast and Furious, which I think is the last part of the tour. And it was loud. It was so loud. So I was covering our youngest ears so that we could try to keep him sleeping. And the last chase scene, he did wake up in, which was fine because then it was easier to get off.
Second.
What was that?
So I'm sure that was very confusing for a second to wake up to.
And then we pull back in to exit the tram and it's still pouring down rain. I was like, we don't have coats and we're going to have to make it up the escalator and back to buildings. Well, there was stroller parking with awnings and there were no strollers.
Yeah.
So everyone on our tram got off and just ran to the stroller parking. And we just stood there. And I think we stood there for another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
While it downpoured.
Stop for a little bit.
On the bright side, my migraine stopped.
There you go.
So, that was a plus, that the migraine was finally over. And yeah, there had been no forecast for rain. So it was finally started to let up and sprinkle just a bit. So we went up the escalators, ran to the
Quickie Mart.
The Quickie Mart from Simpsons, and bought an umbrella. And did we get a poncho?
I think we got a poncho. I don't know.
But the umbrella was a full umbrella, not a compact one. And so the boys and I huddled under the umbrella and Daniel's like, whatever.
Universal made a ton of money in an hour, I'm sure, on ponchos.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people bought them.
And then guess what? It stopped raining completely.
Maybe they did control it. Maybe it's all a scam.
That double rainbow, though, I don't know that they could do a double rainbow. But yeah, so it was just a really neat experience. And our youngest really wants to go on it awake. So
yeah, I'm fine with it. I'd go on it twice in a row. I love that.
So we're going to have to do it again so he can see it. And our oldest is very excited because he was like, oh, and you missed this and they did that. And he was just taking in so much. I'm like, he probably remembers more from that tour than I do.
Even tonight, he's asking me about Nope because you go through a set from the movie Nope, which is I love. I'm so glad they added that because I love that movie. But I am like, you are 8 years old. You cannot watch Nope yet. We will watch it together later.
Okay.
So yeah, we got to watch Psycho, Nope, War of the Worlds, Fast and Furious, Psycho, and Jaws before we go.
We have to watch Psycho twice.
Yeah, did I say Psycho twice?
Yeah.
We should watch Psycho twice.
No, that's okay. We do have to watch Waterworld.
Yeah, we did not get to see the Waterworld show, which is fantastic. So we'll watch Waterworld and then we'll go.
The Waterworld show was going on during the downpour.
Yep.
And I was like, we're not going to run up there in time to get to the show.
Yeah.
And if we do, we're just going to be sitting soaking wet.
It would not have been fun. Did we hit up Minion Mayhem after that, or did we go get lunch? What did we do?
No, we remember
we already ate lunch. Forget that.
Ate lunch, yeah.
Forget I said anything. We went to Minion Mayhem because our kids desperately wanted to go on that. And I had never been on it. And it was, while we were in there, I realized what used to be there. It used to be the Terminator 2 3D show, which was one of my favorite things to watch. And that's gone now, and it's Minion Mayhem.
Yeah, and it was a lot more fun than I was anticipating. I get motion sickness, and it was a screen ride, and you're in a vehicle that does move too. So I was nervous that I was going to get motion sickness. I did not. Our boys loved it. When we got off the ride, our youngest goes, "Are we in a different room?" He was so involved in the ride that he thought that we had gone, the vehicle thing that we had been in, actually moved. even though we were just watching a screen.
And it's really a pretty weird way that they do it, too, because it's a really big room, and each car is pretty far apart from each other.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're in a warehouse or in a movie theater, but instead of seats, there's boxes of
Is it
6 seats, 8 seats,
I think
maybe.
it's 4 and 4.
And they kind of like move up and down and side to side, but you're all looking at the same big screen.
Yeah.
It was weird, but really well done. And I didn't get motion sick either.
Yeah. And as we left, there was like a dance floor area, and you could watch yourself up on a screen. And so our oldest did not want to leave. He danced and danced and danced. And I'm like, for a kid that can get so tired walking around a theme park, how do you have so much energy to dance? So we got some good videos of that. It was very cute. And then we headed back to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
We went and did the Forbidden Forest, right?
Yeah, well, I have some videos and pictures of us doing wand stuff, but I think that was, that was before the ride.
Okay.
So there's spots that you can stand and use a wand that you've bought at Ollivander's.
Ollivander's, yeah. And these are their special like infrared wands. So they're designed to interact with the land. And I had bought one the last time that I'd been there, so I decided to bring it along with me. And yeah, we all got to kind of play around with it a little bit.
Yeah. So it's fun to find the different places that you can use it and interact.
And there's a lot. We only hit just a handful of them, so we'll definitely have to do that more.
Also, side note, use the bathrooms in the Harry Potter land. Moaning Myrtle is in the girls' bathroom. I don't know what
she's in the guys' bathroom too. Our oldest was freaking out about that. He was not keen at the fact that there was a woman yelling at him.
Yeah, and like the drains in our bathroom are like making gurgling sounds and stuff. And so, they're themed so well. So use the bathrooms in the Harry Potter land.
Did we hit the Forbidden Forest after that?
Yes.
That's when we went to it. Yeah, I like the idea of this ride a whole lot. It mixes practical effects and screens, and it's an exciting ride. I get the most sick on this ride out of any in the park. And that goes for Disneyland too. I don't know what it is. And I would probably go on it again, especially if our oldest wanted to go on it or our youngest wanted to go on it when he's tall enough. But I know that I'm going to be a little bit sick when I get off of it.
I did go on it, but I closed my eyes for almost all the screen parts. And then our friend Megan, she had warned us that she got a concussion on it. And so I had my head back, but I forgot to tell our oldest because I went on it first with him. And I forgot to tell him to put his head back because apparently like the first time they rock you back, like it goes hard. And so I had my head back, but because of the way the shoulder strap things come down, like they're big bulky ones, you can't talk to the person next to you. So I'm like a crazy mom being like, our son's name, put your head back, put your head back. And he's just like, oh, this is amazing.
He's bashing his head into it.
He loved it. He has not seen Harry Potter, so he doesn't know really the references. So the Death Eater's like, what are those? I was like, it's just part of the movie. He did not have nightmares. I tried to read the books
with them, but they're not into it
He did not
yet.
have nightmares, at least. So, but he went on a second time with you because, again, our youngest is not tall enough to ride it.
And they had riders.
And our youngest did not want to go on it. Yeah, so he went on again. I don't know that I would ride it again, but I would definitely want to walk through the queue again. Another ride with an amazing queue. And we missed this, but I guess there's like a pre-show and it kind of explains what you're about to do on the ride. So I don't know if that wasn't playing when we walked through the queue, because when we went on it, there was like 15-minute wait. Like there was no wait, which is not unusual for this. We hit that park at a good time. We did. The queue just has a lot going on, and there is a pre-show with Hermione, Ron, and Harry. And so I just saw that on a YouTube video, and I was like, oh, that makes the ride make so much more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but walking through Hogwarts is really cool.
Yes. And then I did get to go to their gift shop after. And I found the mug that I had seen online, and it was Christmas time at Hogwarts. And I love big mugs that can hold a lot of tea. I don't drink coffee. I drink tea. And it's got is it Hogwarts Castle? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It has the Hogwarts Castle on it with some snow, and there's an owl. And it's just a wonderful mug that I probably used more during Christmas this year than my Disney
Wow.
Christmas mugs. So, yeah.
While you were looking through the gift shop, I think I took the boys to go get our dinner ordered.
Yes.
We went to the Three Broomsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really enjoy eating there. They've got British pub food. So you ended up getting, let's see, we ordered you the fish and chips.
And I split that with our youngest.
We got chicken tenders for our oldest, I believe.
And you got the feast.
I ordered the holiday feast.
Yeah.
Which is something they didn't have the last time I went, but they had around Christmas time. And that was like, it had turkey, it had a bacon wrapped sausage, mashed potatoes, it had roasted Brussels sprouts, and I think carrots. And it was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It hit the spot for me. We also ordered a frozen butterbeer, which is delicious, and it had the vegan
Yeah, you got me the vegan one.
Yeah.
It was so good. And it was on the colder side of our trip because of the rain, but the frozen one was really good.
It's really tasty. And see, the last time I went, I wanted to try the hot butterbeer, but it was really, really hot in the park, so I didn't do it. So this time I was like, I'm going to get the hot one. And they weren't selling it, so I got the frozen one.
Every Californian was cold from the rain.
Probably. And we got the potted butterbeer cream, which was delicious.
It was okay.
It was like a butterbeer pudding.
Yeah. The youngest and I took like a bite each and we're like, yep, Daniel, here you go.
So good. And
but the frozen butterbeer was good.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. And then we got to do, I think it was called Christmas Time at Hogwarts show. And so they do a light projection on the Hogwarts castle. They do music. I think it was 15 minutes long.
I think so.
It was so Christmassy.
It was very festive. It was really well done the way that they did the projections. I will say it lacks some of the narrative expertise that you get in some of the Disney stuff, like the fireworks shows, but for just like something to watch, it was really, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that they have some kind of, so spoiler alert, but we are going back soon. Mm-hmm. And since we're annual pass holders now, we are going to be making a stop at Universal. And I hope that they have another light show.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a typical thing. I know it is during the summer, but I have no idea like if January is off season, so they don't. So we'll find out, but I hope they do because I really enjoyed watching that. I love nighttime shows. I did not make it to Hagrid's, what was it?
Oh, the Flight of the Hippogriff.
Because it had rained. It was running, but it was wet, and so we just didn't. Yeah. So we're looking forward to doing that one too.
I'd like to get on it. It's very similar to like Gadget's Go Coaster. It's a very small kids coaster, and I think they both love it.
We didn't know it, but that night there was an annual pass holder event. So the reason that the park was closing at 6 was it 6 or 7? I think it was 6.
I think it was 6. Yeah, it closed pretty early.
Was because of that, and it was for the Jubilation. So they had a special Jubilation for annual pass holders. We missed the Jubilation because the times for the Jubilation were at the Hogwarts Christmas time, and it was like a small gap of time where we could have made it, but we were eating dinner. And so we decided to miss the Jubilation so we could make it to the Hogwarts Castle Christmas time instead. So, yeah, but we really enjoyed it. I had no expectations for Universal. And so it far exceeded my expectations.
And that kind of helps things sometimes. So, I mean...
Yeah. Because it just was like, I will just go with the flow and do whatever. There's no agenda other than getting Super Nintendo World in. And I feel like our kids complained way less that day than they did in Disneyland.
I think part of it is it was so new to them, too. Yeah. Like everything they saw was new. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot that we didn't get around to. So it will be cool to explore a little bit more. Plus, the next time we're going will be during Lunar New Year. So hopefully there's more stuff.
We hope, because... apparently, they just assume that everyone that comes to their park is in Southern California, so they don't announce dates ahead of time. So some years it has been the dates that we're going, and one year it wasn't until February. So we will find out. But
fingers crossed.
Even if it isn't, there's going to be plenty to get in.
Yeah,
so
it'll be fun. All right, that's it. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a like and a review. And you can find us on all forms of social media at OfMiceandMatterhorns, except on X or Twitter, where we are at MiceMatterhorns. Feel free to email us at OfMiceandMatterhorns@gmail.com with any questions. We would love to answer them on the air. And as always, have a Disney day.
Your attention, please. Of Mice and Matterhorns has now ended its normal operating episode. We thank you for your visit to our podcast and hope that the memories that you made will bring you back soon.